Okay, yes.
Your head's chopped off.
Head chopped off.
There, that's better.
Good, excellent. All right.
All right.
Well, now we're live. That's all good. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do an Age with Confidence podcast. Here's our little computer thing over here. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another Age with Confidence podcast. I'm Sean Scott, a local elder law attorney here on the west coast of Florida. I'm joined with my co-host today, Karen Carley. Say hi, Karen.
Hello, everybody.
Nice to see you back again.
Thank
you've been out for a while, haven't you? Yeah, a little surgery, but I see you're all mended and back on 2 feet again. So that's
I'm
good.
back
nice
on 2 legs,
excellent.
yes, so that's a good thing. Yes.
Super. We're broadcasting live via video today as well, using our iPhone and Ustream. So if you're out there on the webpage, you can take a look and you can actually listen to us do our podcast today. A little bit of a test to see if that works and to see how it looks. So if you happen to be there, you get to see this, and pretty neat stuff. So Karen, other than your bounce back from surgery and all that good stuff, anything new shaking in your life? What's going on?
Gee whiz, that's a good question. I'm just trying to, I just heard, I was just saying that I just heard that there was a little earthquake in Chicago this morning.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Isn't that weird?
Something like a 4 point something?
4.5, and they felt it in 7 of the surrounding states.
Wow.
So that's pretty interesting.
Right.
So I'll be interested, since I'm from Chicago, I'll be real interested to hear more about it on the news later.
Sure. Was it right centered in Chicago?
It's at DeKalb, Illinois, is where the epicenter was, but they felt it in Chicago,
wow.
Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin, all Indiana. I was like, wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So.
A part of our, we haven't done a podcast for a while because I did one without you because you were sick, and then some other things intervened. We did some Haiti relief projects where we went down and took some stuff, materials and some medical supplies, a couple of medical teams down there to help out with the relief project. So that's been taking up a lot of our extra time, so we haven't been able to do any podcasts. So other than that, we've been real busy, but back on the podcast train again, and we have a special guest joining us today, and that special guest is Nicole, and Nicole's last name is Marr. I was going to say man, but I'm going to say Marr. Nicole joins us from a corporation, a company that solves a problem that you may run into as you age. And again, the whole point of Age with Confidence is to help you age a little more confidently by having information about problems that you may know about or you may not know that you may have. So, and one of the big issues is mobility, and how do we get from here to there as we age. And when we get older, we may need a walker, we may need a wheelchair to get around. If you're a caregiver, for example, and you're taking care of somebody and they have needed a wheelchair in order to get them from point A to point B, and you're this nice little old guy with your nice little old lady wife, and how are you going to get her into the car? And now she has a wheelchair or a mobility, what do you want to call those things, a little cart, where they...
Oh, the walker?
No, but those little powered wheelchair type things.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what they called, but I'm sure Nicole
like
will
a
tell
scooter
me.
or a power chair.
I knew you would. So that's Nicole. So why don't you just say hello again? Hi, Nicole.
Hello, everybody.
Excellent.
It's wonderful to be here.
It's great to have you here. Again, one of my favorite things is every time I do one of these programs, I get to learn something I didn't know about oftentimes.
Absolutely.
And I don't know a lot about this particular problem. That's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come here and kind of share with us. Because obviously this is a huge issue as you age, and when you run into the issue of needing a scooter or needing a wheelchair to get you around from point A to point B. How do you get that thing from point A to point B? How do you get that scooter or that wheelchair from point A to point B? And one of those ways of doing it is what?
We can modify vehicles to allow you to take your loved one or yourself in a wheelchair, a power chair, a scooter, whatever mobility aid you have. We have a solution for you. It could be as simple as putting a hitch on the back of your vehicle
Sure.
and putting a lift back there to transport your scooter or power chair. If you don't want to do that, our core business is to modify vans, trucks, and SUVs to allow you to ride in that vehicle from your chair.
Right, which is awesome, which is great. And then this is all customizable to your needs and your desires. It's not just one size fits all. You can pick the color of the car you want and what type of vehicle you want to use. You can even, as you say, use an attachment on the back of it, like on a hitch type situation, or a lift back there, or you can modify the vehicle even further so you can ride inside.
Absolutely.
That's really, really cool. And this is a big challenge. I mean, if you think about it, Karen, here we are, I'm getting older, and all of a sudden now I need to take my wife to the doctor, but she's in a wheelchair or she's in a scooter, and I can't really lift that darn thing because it weighs 150 pounds or more, and I can't lift her hardly either. So getting her in and out of the vehicle is even a problem.
Absolutely.
Well, why not make it so that I don't have to get her in and out of the vehicle? I just got to roll her in and roll her out, basically. That way she doesn't not inconvenienced or made uncomfortable. We don't have the risk of fall by transitioning from our chair into the vehicle. So a lot of good things to do. But how do I get one of those things? And where do I go? And where do I start in the process? So what's the name of your company again?
The name of the company is Rhino Mobility.
Rhino Mobility,
And
yes.
we're here locally in the Tampa Bay area, and we actually will fabricate the vehicles. We have a facility, 11,000 square feet, where we can do the custom modifications you need.
Great.
We have a core of a few base vehicles that we do that we really focus on, as far as converting a Chevy Silverado truck, a Dodge Mega Cab truck, an SUV, and then minivans.
Right.
And kind of the most popular minivan just in general is the Dodge Grand Caravan.
Right.
So we can make
It's got a good
that
size to it, and there's a good back end and everything. Yeah, I could understand that we probably want to have kind of stock solutions for a couple of different vehicles, because I imagine all vehicles are a little bit different. And where you put the ramp in, and how it fits with the side or the windows or the doors and all that, so you can fabricate a solution that fits for each one of those.
And our focus too, when we modify vehicles, is to really make it functional for the end user, but also not to interfere with the structural integrity of the vehicle.
Right.
So that's why there are certain constraints, and some vehicles will say, no, we're not going to modify that because it's not safe.
Right.
Our big thing is we don't cut the frame, we don't modify the fuel tank, the fuel system, and those are two big safety concerns. So just because you're having a custom modified vehicle, we also want our customers to feel safe in that vehicle as well.
And no recalls, right?
Exactly.
Boy, I tell you, poor Toyota. They're really getting a short end of that particular stick, aren't they? So that's interesting. Now, I'm looking at one of your flyers here for Rhino Mobility. Now, is Rhino just a local company, or are they kind of nationwide? I mean, if I was in Seattle, for example, could I find a Rhino kind of outlet there?
We have dealers that sell our products all throughout the country. So everything is manufactured here locally, which is great for the local customers.
Absolutely.
They can come right to us for assistance. But we actually sell, Texas is truck country, and we're really the only modifier of pickup trucks in the U.S. So we sell a lot of trucks there.
So I just got a truck, Karen.
I do.
I got rid of my Rover and my SUV and went to just a truck. I've always wanted a truck all my life, and finally got a truck. So
it's a great truck.
I'm a big truck guy.
Yeah,
right?
silver.
Yeah. So when Nicole showed me one of these slicks for the Dodge Mega Cab, I was like, wow, you can modify a Mega Cab here. So now I don't have to be driving around in a minivan, because we don't like minivans. But
so passe.
So minivan. But my wife refuses to drive a minivan. Will not do it. But if we had a need, we could actually modify a truck to do that. And if I'm in Texas, I can't even spell minivan. So that's interesting. So you can, and it's because it's so big inside that you can get the wheelchair and the access point. The door is so wide that you can get them in for that. That's really neat.
So they're not going in the back.
No, they're not. Well, it's a good point, actually. You could see this through the podcast, but it's just a regular truck with a lift attached to the side that hooks up underneath it. It hides away very nice. You don't even know it's there. But you are not being carted around in the bed of the truck.
Exactly, so, and your chair gets to be inside the cab of the truck with you.
With you, exactly.
Not exposed to all the elements.
That's right.
Very, very interesting.
It's a great solution, because then you have all the same functionality of a pickup truck.
Right,
If you want to tow your boat, or I know some of our customers have a fifth wheel, and you still have all that functionality.
And if I'm a senior and I'm traveling around and I need to be able to get in and out of the truck, because we're taking our fifth wheel around the country, just because I'm in a wheelchair or a scooter, now I have the option of being able to do that.
That's great.
Of course, you're going to have to modify the fifth wheel now to get the scooter inside the fifth wheel.
That's true.
But you could
That's
probably do that. So it's a little bit of a challenge. I've just created a whole new business model for you. So,
Thank you.
That's a good thought, right?
Yes, give us a call. We can help you with that too.
the whole rhino. Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah,
Okay.
hurt. So no problem. The whole rhino. That's not the whole broadcasting this on video thing is just a test anyways. So we'll fix. That's why we're testing it to see if it works or not. Rhino mobility, as it comes to me because I actually had a client that I needed this particular problem solved with, and I didn't know anybody to go to necessarily, and I found Rhino, and it's like, wow, these guys, I need to share this information with other people because I'm sure I'm not the only person that has run into this problem. So I wanted to get this solution out there. So what does the process look like? If you could take, for example, let's say I'm a caregiver. I'm taking care of my mom. She's 80 years old. She's non-ambulatory now, so we're using a wheelchair and a scooter for her both, because depending upon the application. And I'm having the hardest time getting her to the darn doctor. I mean, I can lift her, but I have a bad back, which I do, and it's hard for me to get her out. And every time I try to lift her into the car, out of the car, into the wheelchair, and do that, I'm scared for her and I'm scared for me both. So I need to find a better solution here. So what do I do? What's the first thing that I do? I guess do I call you? Do I go to the website?
Really, the best thing, give me a call.
Okay.
I always have the phone with me, even when I'm out of the office. Right. I forward the phone, so I'm always available. And the big thing is just I'll want to find out what fits your lifestyle. And
right.
If this is something where, for I think a lot of caregivers now, they're somewhat still taking care of their own kids at time and then also taking care of their parents.
They call that the sandwich generation, I think.
Right. So they need a vehicle that can function for both, and that's why the minivan is great for that application, because we can do a rear entry van. It's very simple to use. You'll open the rear hatch, you'll fold down a ramp, you're able to wheel your mom or your father or whomever into the vehicle and basically lock down their wheelchair. You still have seating for all your able-bodied passengers. The mid-row seats, obviously we do have to remove
something.
The rear bench.
Exactly.
Right, the rear bench seat is removed, so there's room for that wheelchair. And actually what's nice with the rear entry, too, you can actually fit 2 people in wheelchairs in it, which sometimes could be an issue if you have mom and a friend or mom and dad.
Mom and her boyfriend.
Right, so there's room to fit them in there. And what's great is the mid-row seating, it just flips and folds. So if you need it out of the way, you just flip it up with a lever.
That Dodge is pretty cool like that,
folds
isn't it?
out of the way, and if you're not using it, it'll fold back, so you still have the capability of taking 4 able-bodied passengers in the minivan. And it's easy to use. Like I said, it's just, everything's manual. You just fold down the ramp, fold it up. You don't have to worry about special parking spots.
It doesn't look very heavy. It looks a lot lighter than the wheelchair in my mom.
Oh, so. Yeah. If you're able to push the wheelchair,
you're able to move it.
Yeah, folding the ramp in and out. It's spring. We have a spring on it, so it makes it, literally 1 or 2 fingers you can lift it up and down.
Absolutely. Now, what are there power solutions for this problem as well?
If you needed a power solution, absolutely we can do that. On the trucks and SUVs. A lot of that is power.
Because it's not as easy access as it is with the van.
Right. There's a lot of different things to take into consideration when you're picking the vehicle for you. If this is for someone that wants to drive themselves from their wheelchair, we have solutions. If this is for a caregiver, we have, more cost-effective manual solutions that might fit better.
Because obviously cost comes into play here. So I could buy a used Dodge Grand Caravan, a year old or something like that, and I could have that modified.
Absolutely.
Super.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why we offer trucks, SUVs, and vans, is we want to have something available in every price point. When the truck's all said and done, they can be expensive.
Sure.
And the conversion on a pickup truck oftentimes costs as much as the chassis with all the power options and everything you'll need, whereas the minivan, is half the price typically.
Sure. Yeah, which is great. And if you already have the minivan, or something that you can modify that's even more economical.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
You know, she just brought up something too, when you were saying with the two in the back, let's say two wheelchairs in the back, what that might be good for is a small assisted living facility or something. You know, if they have to transport to doctors' offices and whatever. And the second part of this is how can somebody who's on very limited income. How do they, is there any assistance available through the VA or different programs?
Is there a Medicare option on this? I mean, because I haven't got the cost yet, because obviously that's a big deal, but
yes.
that is a big issue for many people.
It is a big issue.
Well, and absolutely, the funding of it can be tricky. I mean, looking at it from our standpoint of, oftentimes you're going to have to buy the chassis anyways,
right.
So you can pick the chassis of your choice. If it's for a customer that did serve and their injury or disability could be service connected,
right.
then the VA is wonderful.
Right.
They are absolutely wonderful. They'll pay for basically everything that you need
sure.
as far as the adaption.
Super.
Some of that depends too on your level of service connection. If you're 50% service connected, they won't pay for necessarily everything, but they do help, which is great. Vocational rehab helps, but I mean with the senior population, if they're going out of the workforce, then they're not really going to be. A lot of it is going to be something to budget for, and honestly, with Medicare, I don't know if they'll pay certain. If you have certain illnesses or certain disease, a lot of times support groups or that society will help raise money or help give grants towards the adaptions you need.
Sure,
but honestly, when it comes to the senior population, unfortunately, they're probably going to have to figure out.
So
the
Medicare may help
themselves.
you with the wheelchair. They may help you with the scooter, the mobility device itself, but they're not going to help you with modifying the vehicle to put that scooter into.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. But I wanted to make sure we were clear on that. When we talk about Medicaid qualification, by the way, which is something that we do a lot here in the office, is helping our clients qualify for Medicaid benefits to pay for the cost of care. A lot of times we're looking at places where we can preserve assets or use assets in order to get us down to a certain asset target to qualify for Medicaid benefits. For example, this morning I had a mom who's being taken care of at home by the daughter, wants to continue to do that. Mom's mobility is starting to decline, and we'd like to get some help in the home for them so they could stay out of the nursing home. Now, we have aid and attendance already in that situation from the VA to help do that, but we wanted to add in a program called the Nursing Home Diversion Program, which is a type of Medicaid that will help pay for the cost of care and pay for some home care and pay for pharmaceuticals and all of that, which would be a big help. But we're just a little far outside of the target for eligibility on the asset side. So one of the ways that a very simple way that you can move assets to qualify for Medicaid benefits is to purchase a vehicle for yourself. And in this particular situation, they could purchase a chassis, like the van body, and then they could have it modified in order to get her device in there. And by moving some of her money into that asset, which is not counted, bang, she kills two birds with one stone. She gets the ability to move and get around easily without having to break her daughter's back, literally. And we also are able to obtain Medicaid benefits to get all those other options, which is kind of an interesting concept. So one kind of begets the other. So
that's a nice win-win for everybody.
It's a nice win-win for everybody, yeah, exactly.
Because it's kind of almost pointless if Medicaid or Medicare is going to pay for a mobility device if you can't transport it anywhere.
Exactly.
Those batteries only last for so long.
They're not going to get you all the way to the doctor's office.
Yeah, you don't want to be riding that scooter all the way down busy roads.
So when we talk about cost, I mean, obviously there's a whole range of options, and how much this ultimately ends up costing you depends upon which solution you choose. We talked about I've seen some of these with little hitch-mounted holders for the scooter or for the wheelchair, and some of them can be powered to lift them up and down. I've seen that, and that just fits onto basically the back of almost any vehicle. Almost. You have to be able to get a hitch on, basically.
Right.
And there are some you're probably not going to get it on your what's that smart car.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think the smart car is going to be able to be modified for it. But there, for most, I say 90% of the vehicles, that kind of solution will work. And I'm sure that's probably on the more economical end of the scale, right?
Absolutely.
So if we're looking for cheap, by basic, how much are you looking at for that? A couple of $1,000s or less or more? Or
Yeah,
what?
a lot of, the hitch mount's great if you are somewhat ambulatory and you can walk from the front to the back of the vehicle. And a lot of that depends on how heavy your chair is.
Right.
If you've just got a very lightweight little scooter or a very lightweight, just almost manual wheelchair,
Sure.
that's going to be probably $2,000.
Right.
You can get the hitch, you can get everything installed, have it all hooked up,
And ready to go.
yeah,
Right,
and
sure.
ready to go. The problem is that a lot of the chairs are too heavy,
Right.
and if Medicaid or Medicare is paying for a heavy power chair,
Right, sure.
if that power chair weighs 200, 300 pounds,
Right.
your average car isn't going to be able to get a
Correct.
Class 3 hitch
Right,
that'll hold
right.
it.
And you need,
So,
because they will only hold so much.
Right.
And the thing with a hitch, if this from a physics standpoint, is that most trailers that you pull aren't very heavy on the
Right.
tongue. They're not putting a lot of weight
Right.
down. They're weight heavy to pull, but there's not a lot of weight on the tongue.
right. And
but
because this is all the tongue
This
weight.
is all 100% tongue weight because there's no wheels. We have the same problem with my son's motorcycle. Is putting it on the back of the truck or back of the RV is limited to the tongue weight on how big of a motorcycle you can put back there. So same issue, I guess, same thing. So you may find yourself outsized,
Right.
basically. You just can't use that particular solution. So now we're looking at doing a modification to get that thing inside the back of a minivan or something along those lines.
Right.
So if you already own the minivan, and I know you do the Dodge Caravans, but is there any other stock minivans that you work with that if I already have one I could use?
As far as
Putting a ramp
putting a
right.
ramp on the back of it, really the Dodge Green Caravan and the Chrysler Town and Country
Both of
are
those
the
products.
two
Right.
that we will do for sure. If you have another minivan,
Right.
we can look at it and see if maybe there's another solution of putting a lift in the rear hatch of
Right.
it
Sure.
to pick your chair up and
Right.
store your chair in the back of it.
Right.
And that really only takes away a little bit of the seating.
Correct. But you don't have that roll in, roll out ability
Right.
with that situation.
Right.
Sure. And again, it comes back down to just design and physics and on getting that ramp inserted into the back of there where the gas tank is and where the axle is and all that. So I'm sure that's why we're using the Dodge Caravan because it accommodates that.
And we're lowering the floor
Correct.
to give that channel to just wheel the chair in.
Super. So let's say I have, perchance I have a Dodge Grand Caravan and it's within the last couple of years, and I want to modify that for Mom. So I can just wheel her in, or I can get her thing in and out, and it's no fuss, no muss. Now what am I looking at for costs? Give me a range.
The cost on that's probably going to be right around $14,000 to $15,000 to do the conversion. And what's great for customers in this area is it comes to our facility here, you drop it off, it'll probably only take us about 2 weeks to do it. And
that's a good question. How long am I going to be without my car? How long is it going to take? So about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks, and everything will be done, and you can come back and pick it up at our facility.
I think for $14,000. Wow, I think that's a heck of a deal.
That's a very
for freedom,
affordable
for
option.
freedom, $14,000 for freedom. If I have that money, I think that's well worth it. Obviously
Absolutely.
I can't afford it, but if I have that money, that's well worth it. Absolutely. Very, very cool.
What about something like a workman's comp or something? Would you cover that kind of thing if there's an injury or disability of some kind?
We've built stuff with customers that have used workman's comp. A lot of times they'll have some type of, case worker on it to approve it. And as long as, quite honestly, if someone's willing to pay for it, we'll work with any agency, whatever they need from us.
Right.
And I do work with a lot of customers in different states too, so the rules and regulations are somewhat different in some of the states. So if there's something information-wise we can give them to get it approved, absolutely, we're more than willing to help any way we can.
Fabulous.
I'm just thinking, the Area Agency on Aging is also a disability center.
Right.
And I just wonder if they've done anything or have any programs or any grants that they might, earmark towards this from the state or something like that. It's just a thought. I don't know, but,
I'm not aware of any, but that's, if you dig a little bit, you can oftentimes find some money
Sure.
to help you out.
I do find it good value though for that situation of being able to get freedom back for me and my mom now, so that I can get her where she needs to be, and now it opens up all these possibilities for us, which were heretofore precluded because going out to dinner was a hassle. Okay, and we would tend not to go out to dinner, and getting to the doctor was a real, just but now that all that's back on the table again, and all I got to spend $14,000 for it, so that's good. And then I guess you can finance it too, right? As far as that's concerned.
A lot of people do.
So now you don't have to come up with $14 out of your pocket. You can finance it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times too, certain car dealerships we work with, if you're looking to get a new one, they have a way to kind of factor in some of that money through GMAC or whatever.
Build it into the cost of the car. Right.
Because oftentimes your local bank, if you go there and say, hey, I need $30,000 for this vehicle, and they'll be like, well, but the vehicle's only worth, 15 or 16,000. Well, the other 14 or 15 is for the conversion.
Right.
They don't always know how to value that.
Sure.
And they don't understand that, the conversion's going to hold its value better than the van.
Well, can you buy a used one? Can you buy some, if somebody, doesn't need theirs anymore for whatever reason?
Yeah, when Mom dies. Yeah. You will definitely be able to buy mine when Mom dies.
Well, did you have like an ongoing, list of something like that?
People do contact us when I get a lot more calls, people looking for used stuff, and I'm not having it.
Right.
Especially with the trucks because they're very unique.
Rare,
People hold on to those.
Right.
So, and a lot of times, it's not much trouble to sell that. The minivans, like I said, we can convert a used chassis to help save you some money. So it's not like you have to go buy a $30,000 minivan and spend $15,000 on the conversion.
I mean, they're like anything. I'm sure that they're out there on the market that you can find used ones for sure, but they may not be there when you need it, or
exactly to your specifications,
or what you want, or the solution that you need. It's like anything. I mean, that is definitely an option for sure. I guess you could look on Craigslist.
I would think
Craig, they do, especially, I think in Florida, you have a better chance of probably finding a used one versus some other states.
Absolutely, just because of our demographic here, for sure. But again, it may not be there when you need it. And I have a client down in Punta Gorda, and which I have to hook you up with them, of course. We were going through it, this is a couple of months ago, and they still have not been able to get their converted van.
Really?
And the person that they were going through out of Miami had told them it was going to be several months for them to get their van. I was like, what? And so now that I have more information on you guys as well, and I use you for this other client up here, hence why you're here. So I definitely need to reconnect them with you guys perhaps, because that was really taking a long time, much longer. This comes to the point that we couldn't find a used van that would work for our situation there. We had to buy a new solution there. So while they exist, they may not be there when you need it. So, and unfortunately, this particular solution is still not there. So we were talking about the Dodge Sprinter before we started the show, whether or not that's one of the ones that you modify, and you said that you could modify that if you needed to, but that's not one of your stock vehicles.
Right. It's not part of our core
thing. The other option that we have is that you said there was a Ford product that's out there too, other than
the Ford Transit Connect, which is kind of to me it looks like a mini Sprinter.
Right.
It's
really
cool.
Ford, it's really neat looking vehicle actually.
It is a neat looking vehicle, and Ford's really pushing it as a
delivery,
a commercial type.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, a commercial vehicle. But really, the way we converted it, doing a rear entry, the ramp folds out of the back, there's a lot more headroom.
It's huge. It's this big, huge thing in the back.
And that becomes an issue for some of headroom is an issue. You never think that 1 or 2 inches would be as important as it is, but a lot of the minivans, you are limited to how much headroom you can get in the vehicle. We can only lower it so far. So the Transit Connect, the Ford option, allows for want to say 8 or 9 more inches of headroom. It's crazy
Yeah,
how
it's
much.
it's like a little Pope-mobile.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is. It's got this big, but it looks. I mean, it really is. I'm a big Ford guy now, since I have a Ford truck. But I tell you, I think it's a brilliant design, and that fact that you're modifying it and using it for this application is cool.
The gas mileage is really good on it too,
Yeah.
which is, in this day and age, that's a concern too.
Sure,
And you
absolutely.
don't have to drive that huge Sprinter and worry about parking and this
Sure.
and that. I mean, the Transit Connect is really more compact even than a
Yeah,
minivan,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it maneuvers quite well.
Yep. It's about the size of a regular mid-sized car, maybe a little bit smaller even, and yet it has this huge back end, and it actually looks pretty cool. I mean, from a design aesthetic, it's not ugly. I think it's neat.
Absolutely.
So,
That's
really
great.
cool.
And would it be helpful for somebody, as tall as Sean? I mean, would that be?
There's
well,
no, there's no, they're getting me the truck with the sunroof.
Oh.
so my head sticks out the top.
Okay.
Well, absolutely, and everybody sits a little different in their chair
Sure.
too, and just because someone was maybe tall when they were able-bodied and standing,
Sure.
if their chair's designed a little different, they might not have issues, and I've had people who are like, oh gosh, I was only 5'9", 5'10", but where they sit in their chair and
All
the chair
torso
pad,
or all legs. I'm all
right.
legs, so.
the chair pad they need to avoid some of those other issues if you don't want
Breakdown.
to get you don't want to get sores or anything. You could sit high and you might need something like a Transit Connect.
The only thing I like about this is that, from your perspective and from my client's perspective and for the end user's perspective is that you guys are really going to customize this to their needs and on a one-to-one, and you've kind of been there and done all this before. This is not the first time that you've developed any of these solutions for people before.
Right.
So a lot of times people don't even know about the problems and that they need to have solved. But you guys have gone through a lot of that and can solve them before you even get there.
Absolutely. And thinking long term too. You might need a simple solution now, but you have to be aware as you age or as certain things.
As that disease process progresses.
Right.
Exactly.
You might need something a little different around the road, and we can look at all aspects of the cost of it too, because it might just be better to avoid the simple solution and be prepared for
a more long-term solution,
right.
and we would be able to progress through that. And I really like the idea of buying new in a sense, because then you can buy what you need now and what you need in the future. You can wrap that into the cost of the vehicle, so now all of a sudden financially, because I'm always worried about the finances, how do we afford this solution?
Right.
Because now you could wrap that into a loan, and that just becomes another monthly bill for you. So,
Absolutely.
Great.
which is cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
That's very nice.
So do you guys have a website?
We do.
Okay, what's the website?
It's www.rhinomobility.com.
Great.
And Rhino is R-Y-N-O.
Right, R-Y-N-O. That's good. That's because there's other rhino stuff out there as
Yes.
well. Lots of
I
other
get calls every once in a while for the
bed
Rhino
liner?
bed. Yes.
Bed liner, right, exactly. Having a truck, I just looked into those. So that's a new thing to consider. I need a liner for my bed. What doesn't come with one?
And maybe how do they reach you?
Really, email or call me.
Give me that.
My
contact
email
information.
is Nicole, Nicole, @rhinomobility.com.
Good.
And the phone number, the local number is 727-521-6056.
Great. And do you have an 800?
We do.
Do you remember it?
That's what it's on that. It's
I laugh because I have an
1-800
800 number too, and I couldn't tell you what it is.
1-800-799-4806.
I never tell it to anybody. It's always printed on all our stuff.
Right.
Interesting. So good. So we have the website, we have the email, we have the phone numbers, which are good. And I just want to reiterate, since this program isn't just not local, it actually goes across the world on the internet. And if you're in Seattle, or if you're in Texas, or if you're in East Arkansas, that if you have a mobility problem and you need a solution for that mobility problem, that you can call Rhino. They'll be able to either help you find a dealer locally that they can help with, or they can manufacture and work with it here. It is a vehicle after all. It rolls.
Right.
And you make it here, and I guess you deliver it to them. And
we can ship. We can ship anywhere within the continental U.S. Actually, we have shipped a truck over. We have shipped Hawaii and Turks and Caicos, And we do have a customer, I'm not sure he set up the transport, but we do have one, he's in Europe somewhere.
So, yeah, getting it to you is not the
yeah.
problem, and there's
Yeah.
obviously a solution there. So if you don't have a local solution that can be able to solve this, or that local solution is not already affiliated with Rhino, and you like what they have, and you see what they have on the website, I'm sure we can make arrangements to get that solution to you. So, very
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome.
That's great.
All right, Kim, what else do you think? What else do you like?
Well, you want the pick of the day?
Oh, well, sure. Let's do
Yeah,
we do this thing, and I know, we do this thing called pick of the day sometimes. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, depending on our moods, I think. But our picks is one little piece of information or something that you found out there that would be helpful as you age. A lot of times it's a website, or it's a piece of news, or it's a product that's out there. So what do you got for
Well, I was, being home and recuperating from my surgery, I was like, Jeff, can you get such and such, my husband, and, blah, 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 and he's like, well, where is it? And I'm like, well, I don't know, it's somewhere.
Right,
So, but there's a product out called a Lost Items Finder.
Oh.
And you can.
I saw this,
you
I think,
did.
somewhere. I think I saw this, and I was like, I could use that.
I know. And it says that find lost or misplaced keys, TV remote, wallet, your purse,
Did you
even your
whistle?
car. I'm like, okay.
Well, there's an iPhone app for that.
Yeah. So you can just, hook up to 4 items, and you can just beep, put your little wand out here anywhere, and when it gets, when it starts beeping louder, you're close.
So how does it? What's it called, and how's it work?
It's here. I'll give you that, and it's just a whole sheet on it. And I thought that was very cool because people lose things, especially as we age, and if we're under the influence of drugs, medications for whatever reasons, you do lose things. Where did I put the remote, or where did I put this or that? So instead of looking in the freezer all the time.
This is pretty cool. It's not cheap necessarily, but I mean, if you're prone to losing things, which can happen as you age, for sure. By the way, losing your keys is not a bad sign. Okay, forgetting what your keys are for, that's the problem.
That's right. That's
okay?
exactly right. Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you can't find your car keys, that's one problem. But the fact that you don't know what those car keys are for anymore, that's
a big problem.
That's much bigger. More
yeah.
significant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, this comes to us from the Alzheimer store. Mm-hmm. We need to get those folks on.
We can do that anytime. Sure. I was just up there.
I know you were up there, and you know them personally, and that's have you ever seen that, Nicole, the Alzheimer store? It's on the web.
I haven't.
These are just brilliant people, and that they identified a need very, very early on, especially in the beginnings of the web even, and have had a web presence for probably 2 decades almost.
Yeah, probably.
A long time,
Oh,
serving the needs of people with Alzheimer's. And it's called the Alzheimer's store, and it's basically all these products that you would need or could use because you're losing your memory. And one of them is this. It's like sharper image for memory impaired individuals. Okay, right? Basically,
it is. That's good.
Right?
That's good. And there is no more sharper image, is there?
Brookstone.
Yeah, Brookstone.
Brookstone.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Brookstone for memory impaired individuals.
That's right.
This costs $79. All right, and you can get it at the Alzheimer's store, which is the Alzheimer's online store, and it comes with 2 different tags. And a searching device, and as you get closer to the device, the colored lights start to go from red to green, and the blink, and also it starts to beep more. Well, you can always have sounds like a fun game.
It does.
I'm going to hide my keys. You can find them.
Or the dogs will take them away. I love it. But I just thought that was a very cool thing to,
I've always wanted something like this, and now
you know where to
get it. Exactly. My pick is a little self-serving. Is that it has really not much to do with aging, but one of the reasons why we haven't been able to do a podcast for the last couple of weeks is that we've been really putting forth an effort for Haiti relief, and we have a website that we're directing a lot of people to. If you want to see what we've been doing, what we've been able to accomplish, we've actually grown into an affiliation of various non-government organizations called NGOs. We formed an alliance with a lot of people that are doing similar individual efforts, and we've put them together, and we've been able to produce some significant deployment of materials and personnel into Haiti. on a quick and localized basis, where we have people here from our local community, actually even as far as Johns Hopkins, that we're working with to get people into Haiti, as far as medical personnel, doctors, trauma individuals, surgeons. We have the ability to take care of them and when they get to Haiti, as far as housing them, feeding them, providing a place to work and serve down there. We've moved thousands of pounds of medical supplies and food into Haiti through our various efforts. So we're really doing some amazing, great things. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can take a look at the blog at directhelpforhaiti.com. Directhelp, the number 4, Haiti.com. And you can see our blog from there. So it's pretty neat stuff.
Very cool.
So it's really
I've
cool.
been on there looking, and I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's not obviously doing it for that reason, but I appreciate that.
Well, but and you did it for Katrina too.
Yeah, we did, and this is a similar situation.
Absolutely.
Although I tell you, Karen, it was a lot harder than Katrina.
Oh yeah.
We put 400,000 bottles of water into New Orleans 3 days after the hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
And that was easy compared to dealing with the Haiti situation. The magnitude of the problem is beyond belief. The difficulty in delivering the goods and services down there is tough. Housing, finding people, feeding them, all of those challenges we've been able to meet, and we now have an end-to-end supply chain where we can take things from here to there, people, materials, supplies, and deliver service directly to the people of Haiti, and have done that. Hundreds of people we've helped. We even delivered a baby, which I thought was pretty amazing. One of our medical team delivered a baby. So some fantastic pictures on the website. So I encourage you guys to take a look at directhelpforhaiti.com. So
thank you.
That's my pick of the week. Now I know what yours is, Nicole.
Oh, I don't know.
I
I guess
Right.
Rhino Mobility.
That's not an uncommon choice for our guests. So, yes, for rhinomobility.com, is that correct?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
fabulous. I encourage everybody to take a look at that. If you do have a need for transportation, these guys really know what they're doing. If you're local here, they're local as well. They customize it to your particular design needs, and I tell you, Nicole's a great person to work with personally, so I encourage you to give them a contact and give them a call. So.
Thank you.
That's another episode of Age with Confidence in the can. What we'll do now is we're just going to wrap and encourage you to come back and listen to us next week. If you listen to us from the website, you can always go to iTunes and do a search for Age with Confidence from iTunes and download one of our other 39 episodes of Age with Confidence. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I encourage you to take a look, or take a listen, I should say. Until next time, I'm Sean Scott, joined with Karen Carley and Nicole Marr. We will look forward to seeing you again.
Saved?
Not yet, but soon. Now it's saved.
Yeah.
So
we
very good.
We did one, and it was the kiss of death, and it went all the way.
Yeah. Bye-bye. It was
Bye-bye.
bye. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, I knew this one out. I didn't know if it's out or not out, so let's see. And
It went